Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to review the NRL team list for round 11, as well as quickly look at the Sportsdeck Dream Team results for this week. So normally we do a bit of a live reaction at 4 o'clock, but it's currently 6 o'clock at the time of recording. So it's a not so live reaction. Did have a look at the teams already and made a couple of notes for the tops, chops, traps, and slaps videos that we'll try and get out tomorrow. But we'll go through the lists, starting with the Raiders and Dogs. So hopefully it's a good one. I'll be there to have a look on Friday night. But Rapana back for the Raiders. So that's I think good inclusion for them. But Albert Hopper-Whitey drops out. Other than that, looks very much, business as usual. Pretty close to their full-strength side, obviously, apart from KO Weeks playing in the 7. So, probably, not too many excuses for how they go this week. And the Bulldogs, 1-17 from last week, essentially, Matt Burton, obviously, a pretty popular option. This week, I guess, there is a bit of a question mark about will he get picked for Origin. At the moment, I can see him maybe being the 18th man, given he's a bit more versatile. But I feel like at the moment, Luai and Hines are just in front of him for the 6 and 7. Obviously, if Mitchell Moses can get back next week, in what's a bit of a spoiler alert for the Eels team list, I think he could be in the mix too. So, I think Burton's not too far away, but maybe just that sort of more experience in the position of halfback. The fact that he's moved back to 6 with Hutchinson playing in the 7 might count against him for Origin. So, I guess the usual's there, so nothing too much to talk about. Seagulls Broncos, so Cooler gets the nod at fullback. I guess for Supercoach owners and fantasy owners too. We're probably hoping Gary got that spot. But, Cooler could be an interesting option at the back. Obviously doesn't play around 13, which is the one knock on bringing him in at the moment. And Ben Trbojevic holds his spot with Olukwatu back, so Waddell's moved back to the bench, which I think is pretty interesting. So for those that held Ben Trbojevic, good things could be ahead. For the Broncos, Jock Madden back at halfback, so I guess if you did want to look at him as an option, given Reynolds is out for a good while, potentially, there's probably worse options going around, but could probably have a free look too, given that he hasn't done too much so far. Other than that, Piakura is one that a lot of people are getting off of, and I think having a player like Jack Gajeski on the bench, who's probably more of an edge cover than a middle forward, probably doesn't spell good signs for Piakura. So I can definitely understand people getting out of that pick this week. For the Titans, so really struggling in their halves. They've gone with their 2 hookers, Chris Randall and Sam Verrills, which means Aaron Clark's playing in the 9. And just looking at the bench, 4 middle forwards essentially. Stimson can probably play on an edge, but maybe Clark is in for some big minutes. I did see he was pretty popular in I think NRL fantasy picks this week. That was early as of yesterday. So there must have been some mail around that he was gonna, look like a 80 minute hooker, which is interesting. But I guess if he's playing hooker, he's not going to have the sort of runs that he's accustomed to. It'll probably be all tackles that he gets his scoring from. And for the Knights, there was a bit of chat maybe Armstrong would miss with the HIA, but looks like he's going to come good. Kai Pearce-Paul still on the bench, so Interesting one. I'm probably just going to hold just because he does cover around 13 and 14. Tyson Frizzell is always there and thereabouts from New South Wales. Um, and, with Madge Maguire, he might go for a bit of that, old hand, won't let you down sort of stuff in the forward pack. So there could be opportunity for him. You've just got to, I guess, be a bit patient. But I guess on the flip side, they do have the bye next week as well. So as long as you've got coverage for that, I think he's a hold. Sharks Roosters. So Nico Hines back named back this week. It might be another game time sort of decision around him. Report was he didn't train today, but I guess they're trying to give him the best chance of actually getting on the field and playing. Um, can't remember. I think Hamlin Ueli is the one that misses out. Yep. So he drops out of the 17, drops out of the 22 by the look of it as well. But that's probably not that fantasy super coach relevant. Joey Manu missing with a HIA at the end of the game on Sunday. So Junior Palga takes his spot. Other than that, I think Brandon Smith might be back in from memory. Um, could be a straight swap for Sandon Smith, who's missing a week. Um, but yeah, I guess the usual suspects: Angus Crichton. A lot of people looking at Sam Walker rather, given the halfback crisis. Um, I can understand why. Obviously the Roosters are doing well, but even when they're doing well, his scores can be quite volatile. Um, and so I guess probably one I'm going to fade, but good luck to you if you do get on this week. Rabbitohs Cowboys. So Alex Johnston back, Jacob Gagai back as well. So apparently he had a calf injury. The report says down here. So I guess we were sort of lamenting why he wasn't getting picked in the 17. But it looks like if he's good to go, then they're going to put him in. Um, so, I think he is still on the bubble for Supercoach. So I guess if you are looking for a bottom dollar cheapie in the centre wing this week, he could be an option. Um, so Taupo, again, probably one more look before we consider him for Supercoach, I guess fantasy. I don't think he scored that well, so not a rush to get on him. Um, I know Mawali starting. Is that something different? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, not too sure. Tane Milner on the bench is interesting. So maybe, playing a bit more of back row, sort of, can cover on the edge if needed. But interesting there. While for the Cowboys, probably the only thing of note, Finny Furiaki back to the bench, Hylam Lukey back in the starting team. So pretty much looking full strength aside from, I guess, their third choice centre with Vialia. Um, but I think, Finny Furiaki's a hold. Jeremiah Nanai, I'd imagine, would be somewhere in the origin squad, probably starting in the second row. Um, and obviously Ruben Cotter as well makes way. Middle forward might not sort of help Finny Furiaki, but I think, Nanai being a second row pick, probably just able to slot back in there. So probably not one to panic on. If you can hold for the next couple of weeks, it'll pay off in round 13 for sure. Warriors Penrith. So the Warriors, another team struggling in their halves. They've slid CNK to 5/8. Taintua Picky for those that might have held him from the start of the year. He's back at fullback. And Tamara Martin in the 7. So he'll be the one running the show. Um, so undecided whether, I'll keep him in my Supercoach team or not because of this. There is definitely options we can move to. Forward pack, I think, looks very much the same as what it has been. And for the Panthers, so Jack Cole slots in. They've got him on the 6 and Luai to 7. So perhaps Luai will be the dominant playmaker and Cole will, just sort of do what he needs to do. Um, and the other sort of missing one that's probably somewhat relevant, Liam Martin out with the HIA. So Maverick Guy getting another start this week off the bench. Storm Eels. So what are we up to? Sunday Arvo doing alright. So Drame Hughes missing again. Tyron Wishart doing a pretty good job filling in the halves, to be honest. It's just a shame that he's so versatile that he's the perfect sort of number 14. Um, Failungo's sort of fullback winning. Jack Howard's probably one that hasn't really popped up on the radar, but he's essentially that utility bench player, so we're not expecting big minutes from him. But I guess good on him for getting a run. And for the Eels, so Dejan Arze is back in the six, so Ethan Sanders drops out into the reserves. Blaze Talangi at fullback again, so definitely a target for us this week. Um, Ryan Madison named on the edge. I don't know if that's a recent change or what's going on there, but if he gets big minutes, Bryce Cartwright is on the bench and Tuolangi as well. I don't know if he's been playing middle or edge, for being perfectly honest. So one to keep an eye out on there. And Tigers and Dolphins to finish it off. So for the Tigers, I don't think there's any big shocks. Isaiah Papali'i missing out this week. I think that's another. Oh, that was suspended. That's right. I thought he was another HIA. I just noticed John Bateman out with a pec, so he was on my radar. But if he's done a pec, then he might be done for a while. So Seyfarth on the edge. So I know he was somewhat popular at the start of the season. I think I may have even had him, quickly binned him after he upset me with the score. Um, but that's fine. And the hammer back for the Dolphins, which means Trey Fuller drops to the 18. Um, so hopefully he stays off the field, doesn't lose any value. But yeah, we'll hold him for through the Origin period. The fact that Hammer's back this week means he's probably a fair chance of locking down a centre spot for Queensland. But other than that, nothing too different by the looks of it. I think Max Plath is out with HIA. That might have been the one I was thinking of, yeah, from this game. So Kenny Bromwich just slots in a lock, super versatile. Um, and who's the man that comes on the bench? It doesn't say. Maybe, I'm guessing Donahue, but not too sure there. Maybe Ray Stone. But yeah, that's the team list. So I guess nothing too much out of the ordinary. I guess we were expecting Moses to come in. But interesting, the Warriors are struggling for halves. The Titans are really struggling for halves. Nico Hines backs a win. So we might be able to navigate that sort of halves crisis not too shabby. But Sportsdeck as well, we'll quickly go through. So 851 this week, which actually moved me up in the ranks overall, which is a nice change. Doesn't seem to happen too often. Also got a league win, which doesn't seem to happen too often either in this format. Uh, I guess was probably lucky. I was on Cleary, and then got the news that Hines dropped out, and I was lucky enough to switch to Crichton, so that worked out really well with him getting an 81. But Marshall King with a 49, Abby Coruscant 37, pretty much on average for them, so that's fine. Payne Haas with a 70, he's the man. Terrell May with a 42, pretty decent as well. Josh Curran with a 19 is a little bit disappointing, but we'll take it. Sam Hughes with 34, solid. Crichton we've talked about. Hopgood 37, Nikorov 46 is nice. So Finny Fuiaki 25, and might be able to alleviate him of his service this week. Ben Travojevic with 34, good hold. So 28 and 40 from Cleary and Johnson before they fell apart. But we do have coverage this week. We may even trade these guys out potentially. Iro and Talangi. So 29, 59 from Talangi. So that was the right call. Salmon, could definitely go, given Preston's back and probably, going to cut into his minutes on the edge. It's not ideal when you're not playing 80 minutes on the edge. And then Tedesco 44, Tom Travojevic with a 40, Fuller with a 52, and Armstrong with 52. We also scored on, and Martin obviously with the 18 was a good miss. So I guess we did make the right selections, maybe other than Curran and Finney Fuiaki. Um, so pretty good week. All right. So in the head-to-head, we had Wera Hess and Dixie. Hopefully I said that right. Michael's team. We got up by about 100, which is a pretty comfortable win. We'll have a look at the team and how they went. So they had Jake Travojevic, which was nice. Jacob Kiros with a 55, but lots of 20s, 30s, 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 29. The two from Katoa. So I had Dom Young, which was a great get, 107. But I guess one player can't carry the team. Cotter with a 60 is a solid get as well. Bo Fermor with a 57. So definitely, some good results on Sunday, but probably not loving the weekend up until that point. But just having a look through, it looks like the highest score this week was Hell's Grannies with 920. Let's look at the right side here. So Ewan Aitken could prove to be a really good point of difference through Origin. Probably one that I've overlooked, but dual position, playing on that edge of the Dolphins. We know he loves a run and a try. 66 points is a good return. Dylan Edwards with 57. Dylan Brown with the 74. So the Dylans getting it done. Zach Lomax 52. Captain Crichton solid. Fanua Blake with a 77. He's been really good. But we knew that he's definitely a keeper at the front row. Cotter, Holmes, and I guess could have been potentially more given that he did have Plath, who I'm guessing didn't make the game with the HIA. Tommy Turbo, obviously went down. Um, yeah, so not a perfect week by any stretch, but probably good enough to be right up there, especially considering some of I guess the guns that we've had right up overall, probably a little bit flat this week. So good stuff. I guess in terms of trades, we should probably quickly discuss too. Um, Given that we've got the big injuries, do I have to look at Sean Johnson and what his prognosis is? I didn't actually check that before. I looked at a couple of others, but not him. So Peck. So if it's a torn one, it could be a long time. If it's a strain, might be not so bad. They're saying round 14. So I guess we can look at the other ones real quick too. So for our team, Nathan Cleary, post Origin. I think Tommy Turbo, they said the same sort of thing around 18. So I think the obvious call is to get out of those two picks. And then it's just a case of who do we want to bring in. There is lots of great value options around. So I've already got Talangi, which is nice. Armstrong, but I guess like a KO Weeks offers great value. Um, just trying to think of the other ones now. I did talk about them yesterday, and they've all escaped me. Go by average, I might be able to identify them. Uh, yeah, KO Weeks definitely was on the list. Jack Cole, obviously, if you want to go all the way down. Um, but I think the fact we've got so much money probably means we don't even need to stress too much about the cheapies. I guess we've got a few guys that are starting to run out of cash, like Salmon. Maybe tomorrow Martin will give him a chance to see how he goes. I just realised Trey Fuller's got to sort of be subbed off as well. So I think we'll definitely try and target the heavy hitters. So I think it might be nice to have Dylan Edwards. It's got the money, got the time, and then the halves. So I guess because I can't afford to bring him into Supercoach this week, I might just go in with Dylan Brown. Lock those trades in. We do have a boost, but I mean, it would only be to, maybe bring Weeks in for one of my, like a Martin or a Salmon, or even Finney Fuiaki if I flip. summing up to the second row, but I'll keep it in reserve. I'm regretting not having one in Supercoach at the moment, so I'll keep this one. And then the lineup this week, so not Finny Filiaki, yes, Smithies, swap Hines and Johnson. Galvin might get a run on the bench. We go over Curran. I'm backing all the dogs to do the business this week. So got Tamara Martin. Galvin's back in. Smithies. Okay, we'll definitely Coruscant over Curran. So something like that, I guess. Smithies does play the first game, so let's get him on field. I think Hopgood plays pretty late. Galvin plays the last game, that's fine. Tomorrow Martin plays Sunday, probably fine. There, so just captain, vice captain shout. Um, so we don't know. So Penrith play pretty late, so Dylan Edwards maybe. So when does Hines play? Right in the middle, that makes it tough. So maybe we go Hines into Edwards. Yeah, I guess the way the Warriors have been going, it could be a fill up. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, let's just lock that in. I think maybe the only thing might change is I'm just thinking Dylan Brown against the Storm. Is a tricky matchup, whereas Burton against the Raiders, there might be a little bit more um, flexibility around the scoring there. But no, I'm going to stick with Brown. Like I said, something a bit different. We'll see how it goes. So we'll leave the video there. It's probably gone a bit too long as it is. But as always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to get them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the teamless reveal, albeit it wasn't live this week. Um, but obviously, subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.